Hey, what's going on, sweaties, or horror movie sweaties, I should say. It's your boy, Mikey Savage 21, bringing you another discussion. And today I'm going to be doing a discussion on Chucky 7 and what to expect next after Cult of Chucky, basically. Now, in case you guys have been sleeping under a rock and you don't know, we're supposed to be getting a new Chucky film, and it's called Cult of Chucky, and it comes out this year in October, both on VOD, Blu-ray, and VHS. But at this point, who buys VHSs? But yeah, it's the new movie, and it's going to be a sequel to Curse of Chucky, and it follows again the legacy of Chucky all the way dating back to Child's Play 1. And so basically, myself and my special guest, we're actually going to be doing a discussion on what we can expect from this film and what we hope to see in the future from the franchise. But with that being said, my special guest today with me is not a stranger to this channel. You have actually heard him multiple times on multiple discussions. Welcoming Andy 13. Andy 13, what's happening, man?
What's going on, all you horror sweaties that are probably just fat emo teenage girls crying in their basements?
He does not represent this channel. I did not say that.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry if anybody got offended at that. What's up, horror sweaties? It's Andy 13, and I am probably going to get crucified and sued a lot for that one, for emotional damage.
Yes, and remember, he does not reflect the channel or the views of Mikey Savage 21, so do not punish me and unsubscribe. Please help me get to 2,000. We're actually at 1K now, so help me get to 2,000. That would be awesome. But so our topic today, again, we're going to be talking about my main man, Chucky. Now, I've been a Chucky fan ever since I saw him back in the day with the very first Child's Play. I loved Child's Play 2. I loved 3. I loved Bride of Chucky. I loved parts of Seed of Chucky. I absolutely loved Curse of Chucky, and I'm actually intrigued and excited for what's to come in Cult of Chucky. And so for those of you who are sleeping under a rock and, again, don't know, we're getting a new one, and it actually was announced in January, and the production began in Canada in 2017, and they actually wrapped up shooting. Looking at it, it actually wrapped up shooting on February 17, 2017. So it started on January 9th, and then it ended on February 17th. And basically, this is going to take place 4 years after Curse of Chucky. Now, spoiler alert if you have not seen Curse of Chucky. All right, so basically, the way it's set up is Nika Pierce has been in a mental institution for the past 4 years after she was convicted for the murder of her family, which obviously she did not commit. And then her psychiatrist apparently gives her a good guy doll as a therapeutic tool to kind of help her with this transition. And then murders start to ensue around the different around the asylum. And then Nika starts to believe that maybe Chucky really doesn't exist and she's not a figment of her imagination. And then meanwhile, Andy, the original kid from the first 3 Child's Play films, and who also made a cameo in Curse of Chucky, has now come back and is trying to help Nika in her aid to take Chucky down once and for all. But he must also deal with Tiffany, who we were introduced to in Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, and also Curse of Chucky. And she's also Chucky's former wife as well. So now, we have all of that being said. Andrew, what do you think about this, man? What are your thoughts on Cult of Chucky? And ultimately, what do you want to see from this movie?
What I really want to see? I just want to see a good Chucky movie that actually makes me, like, you know,
cringe,
get a chill up my spine, actually be scared of dolls instead of just laughing at them.
Kind of like how that first one did. The first one really got people, like, terrified of dolls. And you can make the argument that that Curse of Chucky also did that as well, with him returning to the whole, is he the one doing all this killing, or is it a little girl one doing all the killing? We just didn't know. That was the one thing that I can honestly say I liked about the first one, and about the Curse of Chucky, the 6th film, was that it still had the mystery to it, and it still had that dark tone to it. And Bride of Chucky also kind of had that as well in a little bit, but not as much as the first and the 6th film.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with them. Honestly, if I had to think about it, what I really expect is just them to pull the franchise out of the rut it's been in for so freaking long that they did with the last movie. Was it the last movie?
Yeah, the last movie was Curse of Chucky, but the last one that actually went to theaters was Seed of Chucky. That's the one that sunk the franchise.
Okay, yeah, so the one that didn't sink the franchise, Curse of Chucky, was actually not a bad movie, even though I didn't get to fully see it all the way through. But I'm just kind of thinking, tie up all the loose ends, make everything work together again, and really put their franchise back on track. Because I hope for it, because no other real horror franchise has been able to do it.
Well, you could kind of make the argument that Halloween will be hopefully back in prominence again with the announced sequel that's coming.
Well, yeah, but... And I love the Halloween series. I even kind of like the Rob Zombie remakes. But I'm just a bit worn out on Michael Myers myself. So if they can make a really good one that makes me not cringe at the idea of having to see him on screen again, I'll be okay with it.
Yeah, and even looking at the Rotten Tomato scores of the Chucky franchise as a whole, the highest one is Curse of Chucky, which was essentially not necessarily a reboot, but a reimagining of Chucky, picking up after the events of Seed of Chucky. It's actually the highest rated one with the 81%. The last time we got a really high rated Chucky movie was Child's Play, the original, and it got a 69%. And then from there, Child's Play 2 had a 40%. Child's Play 3, which everyone credits as being the worst film of them all, that got a 23%, and then it rose back to prominence again with Bride of Chucky and was at 44%, getting close to that 69 percentile, beating out Child's Play 2, and then it dropped back down to 32% with Seed of Chucky, which also is the one that everyone credits as tanking the franchise. So for me personally, what I want to see from Cult of Chucky is some of the same setup and some of the same scares and some of the same story and creativity that they had from Curse of Chucky, and I want them to imply that even more. I want Chucky to be funny. I want him to have a lot of kills. I want to see a little bit more blood, but then I want it to be done in a tasteful way. I don't want to just see gore just to see gore. And the director has announced saying that this is going to be the bloodiest of all the films. I don't know how you get bloodier than Seed of Chucky, where you literally had them cut a guy's head off and basically their whole face is covered with blood. So if they're getting bloodier than that, then wow. So I want to see that, and again, I want to see Chucky be scary again. We got to see him be scary, and how he was able to manipulate the whole entire situation. We haven't seen that in a while, especially when you look at Seed of Chucky, where he was just reduced to a daddy figure who just had issues and didn't want a daughter, who wanted a son. But Curse of Chucky took that and erased all of that out of our minds and got us back to being afraid of this doll. And so with another doll movie coming out this year, with the whole reimagining of Annabelle, with Annabelle Creation now, it seems like dolls might be coming back into prominence again, haunted dolls to be specific. So I'm hoping that Cult of Chucky comes out, wows audiences, wows fans, reaches those nostalgic fans that Curse of Chucky wasn't completely able to reach out to. And I want to see it become back to dominance. I want to at least have a Chucky movie go back to the theaters again. And I think if Cult of Chucky ultimately can do the same thing that Curse did, but better, we will get to go see it go to theaters again.
All right.
But now,
well, honestly, keep going, man.
No, I was just gonna basically just say, but in terms of the future, what do you hopefully want to see after Cult of Chucky? And if you want to speculate on what you think the next one will be called, that'll be kind of funny too, because you actually did tell a pretty funny joke earlier about what you think they should retitle this one to, but maybe that one could be the sequel title after this one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Well, honestly, thinking Cult of Chucky, like I said, I wish they do well with it. We already know where I think they'll go with it. They'll just round everything off, finish it out, and get it back on track, like they should. I'm thinking, oh yeah, Chucky 8. Dear God, will you stop already?
So it'll be called Chucky. Or it'll be called Dear God, Stop Chucky. Well, it still has his name in it.
True.
No, and while we're
I should be selling this.
and while we're talking about the future, do you see Andy walking away from this movie like alive?
No, I do not. Just because the movie fates of all people with the name Andrew or anything near it is never good.
Well, I mean, look at Child's Play 1 through 3. Andy survived all 3 films, and he was mentioned in the 4th film. He wasn't really mentioned in Seed. He was mentioned heavily in Curse and even made a cameo at the end. And so he's also going to be featured again prominently in this movie. So I want to...
I'm hoping for the best, but I'm expecting the worst. Just because they might kill the character off just to give it a little more oomph. The fact the movie's back. You never know.
I want to say, at least, I think Andy walks away and I think Nika walks away. I could maybe see Tiffany biting the dust, but then you don't necessarily, you got to think, what about Glenn and Glenda? As much as we all as fans despise Glenn and Glenda for what they did to the franchise, they're still, you know, Chucky's kids. So who's going to take care of the kids? It's not like a dog can take care of kids. How is he going to feed them, clothe them, provide a house for them? So I honestly think Tiffany won't bite the dust most likely either. I basically see all of our main characters walking away, but I will throw a little slight nudge to Andy that maybe he doesn't walk away from this film. But I do think that Nika is going to continue to be the new Andy of this franchise, this rebooted franchise, basically, because I think you can have some more scares with Andy, but you can ultimately kill off Andy because, again, Nika has now taken his place for the most part. But I would definitely love to see him come back for more sequels as well, and maybe him and Nika could continue to team up to take down Chucky and Tiffany, because this is the first time where Chucky has 2 opposing forces trying to take him out. The last time we saw 2 opposing forces trying to take him out was there and again Child's Play 2, where it was significantly Andy and Kyle's story of how they took Chucky out. And then you can argue Child's Play 3 was a story of Tyler and Andy taking Chucky out. When we got the Bride of Chucky, you could argue Katherine Heigl's character of Jess and Jade. Maybe they, you know, were a good dynamic duo for the most part. And then, of course, Seed of Chucky, there was no dynamic duo because that movie really didn't have a good storyline as far as who the main characters were and who they were, Chucky and them were going against in that film. If anything, they were more so going against themselves, which led to the ultimate downfall of him and Tiffany getting divorced at the very end of the movie. But no, I see real possibility for Nika in this franchise and real possibility for Andy. But before we wrap up, guys, and again conclude this discussion, I want to ask you one more thing, Andrew.
What's up?
Okay, so you have said that obviously you still want to do the same thing that Curse did. Do you ever want to see him go back to his human form again? Like, even for like half of a movie, do you want to see him go back to his human form?
Honestly, yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Brad Dourif come back again, you know, in live action as well, to reprise the role of Charles Lee Ray. I actually wouldn't mind him doing that, but on top of that, well, I just thought about it. He wouldn't be able to come back in the same body again. He'd have to be reincarnated. I wouldn't mind seeing him ultimately achieve his goal and become human again, but then if you let him stay that way, not only will it take the franchise in a different direction, you have to get new people and newcomers who have never even seen any of the Chucky movies to understand the lore and the background and how he ultimately ended up becoming human again. So as cool as that would be to see him become human, I wouldn't want him to stay human for a whole movie. I would want him to stay in human form for maybe half a movie, and then maybe something ultimately happens to that body and he has to put his put his soul back into the doll, whether it be the iconic good guy doll or another doll of some form.
Sorry.
But no, guys, with that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the discussion right here. Thank you again, Andy13, for contributing to this discussion, man. If you guys don't know, Andy13 is a hard-working dude. Me and him, we've been buds ever since like way before high school, man. And then we're both horror sweaties to the core. We love talking about horror movies and everything. So we're definitely going to try to come back on and talk more horror topics in the future. But Andy13, man, tell the people where they can find you at.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Neospace_Cloudian, and I'm working on a YouTube channel. It's not quite up yet. I don't really have a lot of equipment, so I'm shopping around trying to find the best deal because I'm broke as all can be, like for a college student, yo. So you can find me on Instagram for right now at Neospace_Cloudian.
And I'll make sure I have a link to follow him on Instagram down in the description below. Also, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like, comment, and share. And make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. And now when you subscribe, make sure you actually tap the little bell next to the subscribe button, because this will actually notify you every time I release a video, because YouTube has recently changed up their algorithm. And if you want to be able to get in on all the good sweaty video topics that I do, think you have to press that bell. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and as I always say, remember to become a savage, stay a savage, and peace out, y'all.